Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer. And I welcome the opportunity to open Labour's contribution to this morning's debate. The title is Supporting Business, but I am also keen to put on record our recognition of the important role businesses play in supporting employment across all our communities. Businesses, both large and small, they play a hugely important role in our society, providing services, developing skills for the wider economy and driving economic growth and prosperity. But right now, all businesses, whether they be large or small, are facing huge challenges in terms of accessing finance and the subsequent ability for them to make the longer-term investment decisions that we know day in, day out that they need to make to provide the employment and to provide that prosperity that we all seek. I'm dealing with companies of all shapes across my constituency who are growing frustrated with the difficulties in obtaining credit. I know the likes of the CBI, FSB and the STUC are coming up with ideas and suggestions all the time to the Scottish Government about how things might help. And I have myself met with most of the major banks over the last few months. But they do stress that money is available, but I'm sure in our own experience that we'll all agree that the circumstances have changed significantly. And whether that money is available or not, that's certainly not the frontline experience of business. And that is why governments, whether that be here in Scotland or at UK level, sorry, I'll move on, Ms Marrick, and that's why governments here in Scotland or at UK level must do everything they can to get the system moving. And that's why I think there is merit in the motion and the amendments that we're debating this morning. I said last week that I like Scottish solutions to Scottish problems, but we should never be apprehensive about looking at initiatives from other countries, particularly those countries with similar challenges to our own. I recognise the Scottish Government have been considering the concept of a Scottish Investment Bank for a period of time, and it appears that the Scottish Government may have been considering a similar proposal to the Welsh model outlined by the Liberal Democrats here this morning. It would be useful, in summing up, if the Minister could outline if any assessment has been made of adopting that similar model. I think he said a little bit about that in his opening speech this morning, but why a Scottish Investment Bank proposal and model was chosen ahead of any other proposals or model that were considered. The detail is important. It's important that we have that detail because that's why our amendment covers the development of a Scottish Investment Bank and the requirement for detail from Scottish Government on that. That is something I would say, personally put on the record this morning, that I have been supportive of for a number of years. But even before the First Minister announced at the STUC Annual Congress in April the concept of Scottish Investment Bank, it is something that would conjure up a number of different ideas and a number of different solutions. And I suppose that the first question that I would pose this morning, whether the Scottish Investment Bank proposal is indeed a bank or not, the Scottish Government, I think, might have already given the answer to that, and the case is it probably isn't. A government spokesperson acknowledged that it wasn't a bank in the accepted sense, but a vehicle of economic development. It would not be subject to the control of the Financial Services Authority. No matter what the Scottish Government does next, it needs to demonstrate how the new body will bring in additional investment or better use existing finances to create jobs, and be clear on what advantage it offers above the current separate funds that it pulls together. Because that's the question businesses will be asking. What is this going to mean for me? What difference is it going to make? And what is that difference going to look like for my business? And of course, last week, we looked at Wales in terms of the PROACT scheme, a suggestion that I think was well received here in the Chamber. I'm sure the Minister will agree that the responsiveness of the Government in the current climate is even more important, and I hope that he has done some work since last week and is prepared to say something more about the PROACT scheme when he's summing up, whether that's something the Government is seriously considering. The Lib Dem motion this morning does recognise the importance of acting quickly, and it calls on the Scottish Government to come back before summer recess with more detail. And I think that's important for all of us here, that we see the debates that we're having here, whether it be last week or this morning, that the Government do come back as quickly as possible. And perhaps in summing up, the Minister could outline what steps the Government have taken in terms of the Economic Recovery Programme as well. And I think this morning's debate will provide what I think is a valuable and important opportunity for individual members to talk about their experiences within their own constituencies, for MSPs to tell the Chamber what is actually happening, what it means for their businesses, and how it's important for the Scottish Government to put detail into the announcements that they make. And, Deputy Presiding Officer, in summing up, I think This debate provides us with, as I said, an opportunity to discuss these issues, but more importantly, it does provide the Scottish Government with a platform to put that detail behind the announcements they make at the STUC and outside this chamber, and I hope they take that this morning.